is Megan Prenti. I'm a registered massage therapist and a yoga teacher here at the Coach House. Today we're going to go over some stretching and home care for the trunk, or the main part of the body. So to start, we're going to talk about a muscle called quadratum lumborum. This muscle runs through the back, so it attaches across the back of the hips, and it runs up and attaches onto the back of the rib cage on both sides of the low back. This muscle is important to help give us stability. It also helps us rotate side to side through the trunk. So often people who get postural pain have some tightness through this muscle. It's an important one to help soften. So to stretch this muscle, I have to stretch one side at a time because it's on both sides of the body. I do this by getting people to sit comfortably. So I'm a cross-legged sitter, that's how I sit. You can do this just as easily with your legs long. It's important when you're sitting that you're sitting right up on the sit bones. So if you're not sure if you are, take your hands and just reach back and just move, do a little tuck, do the squishy bits, pull them out of the way so you're sitting right on the sit bones, and that way you know that you're right on top of your pelvis. So from here, sitting nice and tall through the spine, I like to pull my arms out to the side. We're just going to go to the right first. So we're going to slide over to the right. Right hand comes down. You're going to bend through the elbow as much as possible. Your left hand over here, reaching over, helping to get a little bit of an opening here through this left side. So right now, we're compressing through the right side and we're stretching open the left. We'd hold that for 30 seconds. And then you're going to gently come up through the center, slide over to the left, come down to the other side. And when you're reaching, you want to make sure that you're not hunching through the shoulders. You want to keep the back nice and long, just evening into a side pull here. So that's going to help really open out the ends of QL. If you're really feeling tension all the way through, a twist would be more valuable for you. So for that, you're going to take your shoulders, we'll start by going to the right. You're going to square your shoulders over to the right. If you're sitting, you can just let your hands come to the side, or even if you're on the ground, the right hand coming behind you can push into that to stay nice and tall. And you'll notice with this right shoulder, I'm really pulling it behind me, so not just my chest comes to the side, but the belly button comes too. So this is helping to really stretch through this side, and we will come to switch to the other side after 30 seconds as well. So that's a great way to release through the QL. To get into some more specifics, if you have muscle knots, you can use your handy dandy trigger point ball. I usually recommend when people are starting with trigger point balls, especially for the back body, start on the wall. That way you can place the ball between you and the wall and lean back with an appropriate amount of pressure to get your stretch. Sometimes laying straight flat down is a lot of pressure and it can kind of hurt. So being careful. But for this demonstration, I'll just show you coming down. So again, this muscle runs across the hips and up to the bottom of the ribs. So you just want to come bringing that ball under you. And you can just gently kind of wiggle the ball so that it rolls along those attachment points. You'll find the sweet spot so you can kind of hang out or just keep a gentle up and down or side to side movement through that muscle. If it's more on the outside, you may even want to turn a little more to the side. So some options there. The next set of muscle that we're going to talk about is your erectors. So the erectors are muscles that stabilize the spine. They come all the way from the top of the neck down to the base of the spine, and they run on either side of your spinal column. So right now we're just going to worry about opening up your lumbar erectors. So to stretch these, we're going to lay flat on our back, spine's nice and long, taking both knees, curling them in towards your chest, both hands reach up for your shins, gently pulling them in. So this is helping to round through the back, elongating these muscles. And then if this feels good, you can even gently rock side to side. You'd want to hold this for about 30 seconds, whether you're staying still or moving, and it should just be a comfortable line of pull. Stretching should never feel like burning or ripping. So if that's happening, back off. And then after 30 seconds, gently releasing. Another muscle we're going to talk about is the lats. So lats run again from the lower spine. They come all the way up and plug into the back of the arm. So they're this nice big strip up the back of the body. So again, sitting, you could be cross-legged or your legs could be long. I start by sliding out to the side, lifting an arm up, and then I rotate my shoulder forward. So in this case, even though I'm leaning to the left, I'm stretching through the right lats, I'm tucking my chin in, I'm trying to round through the shoulders so that I'm pulling this muscle, letting it curve forward. Another alternative would be to come into a child's pose if you're not too tight through the hips, anything that's letting that back round. And again, you can see that my shoulders are squared or mostly squared, right? I'm really trying to pull this right shoulder forward so I get that length. After holding for 30 seconds on this side, you want to do the left one as well, so you would come up and over to the other side. Good. So one more stretch through the back body. We're going to do a specific stretch for the cervical erectors. So again, those erectors come all the way through the spine, the cervical spine being your neck. And often when we're sitting for prolonged periods of time, we kind of get the turtleneck happening. They shorten up, large cause of headaches. So sitting so that your head comes over your shoulders, so your spine is in line, tucking the chin in as much as you can. So try to give yourselves as many double chins as you can. And you can come to hang. If you feel a stretch up the back of the neck, you're going to stay here. If you don't really feel one, you don't feel the back of the neck opening, taking your hands, interlocking your fingers, gently laying them on the back of your head. So I'm not pulling my head forward, I'm just letting my body weight rest to help curl the chin in, and it helps to let that up of the neck open a little bit more. One last one for the trunk, talking about pecs. So there's two different pectoral muscles. You have pectoralis major, which kind of comes up through the front of the chest, attaching from the sternum and on the breastbone, coming all the way over to the arm. And then you have pectoralis minor, which is a lot smaller, and it's a little more up and down instead of broad. So these are huge muscles, right? They're often very tight. A lot of what happens with sitting posture, right, is that we round through the back and the front is shortening. So if we want back pain to get better, we also have to address through the front of the body, and there's an opening up that needs to happen. Pecs, even though they're two different muscles, work them as a group. Typically this is best done along the wall, and so check in the blog, we'll have some pictures to show you for that. I don't have a wall, so I'm just going to show you my air stretches, which work just as well. So sitting tall so you're comfortable, you want your shoulders over your hips. And then I just bring my arms open, start with my elbows down by my waist, and then squeezing my shoulders on my back. So pretend you have a little jelly bean that's in between your shoulder blades. You want to squeeze that on your back. Keeping that there, you're going to slowly lift your arms up to 90 degrees. You can hang out here for a couple seconds, and even coming a little bit higher to help isolate different fibers. And then just slowly coming through. So there's sort of this 110 degree, there's a 90 degree, and then down low as well, because it is a very broad muscle, so you want to make sure that you're stretching through all parts of the muscle fiber. Again, doing this on a wall and isolating, holding down low for 30 seconds through the middle and up top. Another really great thing that you can do a little more passively to help pecs open is take a towel, a bolster, a yoga mat, whatever it is that you might have. So if you're taking a towel, you need it to be nice and long. You're going to lay it in the center of whatever your surface is. And I'm going to lay back so that I'm coming onto the towel or the mat, the bolster. It's lining all the way along with my spine. I can keep my arms down by the side, or I can bring them up to 90. And what's happening is the center of my spine is supported. So the longer I stay here and just relax, these postural muscles will start to open. The center of my spine is supported, but it's allowing my shoulders to drop back and open into space, because we're always rounding forward. I see it on the table all the time. People come up and you can see how high their shoulders are. So this is more of a restorative yoga pose. You can want to hang out here for at least 5 minutes, but 5-10 is good. It's also a great way if you're really stressed to help balance out. Going through some other more active care, you can also use your trigger point balls for pec work. It can be very sensitive, so you can either just use the ball and apply pressure with your hand, or again, placing the ball between you and a wall. So, our wall would be here, and just gently leaning in, and you can just keep the ball in one spot, but moving the arm will help to strip through some of those fibers and some of those trigger points that come up. So that's everything for the trunk body. If you have any more specific questions, or if you're finding imbalances from one side to the next, you want to talk to whoever your care practitioner is. Sometimes we need to tweak these things as a general guide. And be sure in the blog to check the photos of us on the wall, and also looking at the other video where we're going to talk about deep diaphragmatic breathing and why that's important, because we often don't breathe using that breathing muscle the way we should, so we see a lot of constriction through there.